Master Armstrong, good morning. How are you today?
Hey, good morning, Sergeant.
Hey, thank you for coming to TEAL Table Talk. We're going to cover a series of questions or topics, to kind of get your insight and also provide insight to others. Coming into the military as a male, a lot of people have different stereotypes about what a male should be, what a male should look like, and things of that nature. What are some stereotypes that do you think are kind of often talked about when coming into the military?
Great question, Sergeant. So when it comes to males, especially now with the society we're dealing with, there's a lot of expectations for us. And a lot of it comes from our emotions and how we deal with our emotions and if we can express it or not, because a lot of male figures are very emotional to ourselves, and we don't know how to express it or get our values out and what we need to express when it comes to us being in a difficult situation or anything difficult in our lives. And expressing that is critical to what we need to do in reference to society and to help out the Army, because that's what we're built to do.
And it's interesting you say that as far as males not being able to express themselves. As a prior drill sergeant, having male soldiers coming to the military from different aspects of life from all over the world, of course, everyone is raised differently. Their parents teach them different things, and things I feel like it starts in the household. And sometimes the male soldiers, they necessarily wouldn't open up to me because they felt like they couldn't cry or they couldn't express their feelings. But I will always tell them it's okay to express your feelings. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Do you have kids by any chance?
Yes, I do, Sergeant.
How many do you have?
I have three. I have three, 2 daughters and 1 son.
Okay, perfect. So myself, I have 2 boys. I have a 14-year-old and a 4-year-old. And of course, as a dads always teach their sons, hey, be macho, man. Don't cry. If you get a boo-boo, just wipe it off. But I tell my kids all the time, it's okay to cry. It's okay to get it out. Now, I do tell them, make sure what you're crying about is something legitimate. Don't cry because you didn't get Fruit Loops this morning, all right? Cry because, you want to express yourself. So have you found yourself in a situation like that by any chance?
I have. Now that my son is 17, he's becoming a young man, and he's learning the ways. It's me as a father figure now, especially being in the Army. I like to be a role model, and a role model expresses everything he needs to express, especially my children now, because I've learned now growing up, as a man, it was difficult to express how I was feeling because a lot of pressure was put on me, and it was a stereotype. And now that I've learned, especially being in the Army, that we're all family, I've learned now to also put that into my children, saying, hey, we should treat everybody the same and adapt to every circumstance, but also express your feelings and express your love for life.
And I like the word that you use, family. As a senior NCO like yourself and me, what are some education pieces that we can teach the younger soldiers as they come into the military, or even when they get to their first duty station?
That's a great question. So especially for us being in the Army Reserve, I've learned now, especially when it comes to TPUs, even the 1 weekends a month or AT, building that chemistry as a family instead of individual progress, it builds this environment where it's safe. And if you build in a safe environment, you're building morale and you're building this trust throughout the command, it's always going to be successful. And I've always said, if you build the cohesion from the start and lean on your soldiers and train them how you want to be trained, everything else falls into place. And that's why we build this family and we build this cohesion to make sure everything is successful.
Do you feel like men predators in the military are the same as women predators in the military?
Great question. Well, when it comes to predators itself, it's difficult to explain because of certain circumstances and what they do. But when it comes to sexual harassment and sexual assault, it's critical that we understand that male and women can both conduct this sexual harassment and sexual assault. We can't be just biased towards men because women also do it. Especially in the workflow that we have now, little things that can occur now where men keep their emotions to themselves, and it could be a sexual harassment from a male telling a woman, but a woman telling a male. There could be different levels to it, and if you don't speak up about it or tell your emotions, it will just keep on going. So you have to make sure that it's across the board, it's equivalent when it comes to sexual harassment and sexual assaults.
Man, you killing it, Master Armstrong. So for myself, for a personal example, I was a young E5. I was at Fort Lee, now Fort Gregg Adams. And I had a particular senior female NCO. She kind of in-processed me at the brigade, but I went down to one of the battalions. But over time, I can tell she started to reach out a little bit more as far as when I was coming to work, when I was leaving to work, and even sometimes what I would do afterward, it made me feel uncomfortable, and it got to the point where I felt like I was being sexually harassed. But as a male, I did not know who I can go talk to. Because if I went to someone else, they would view me as being weak, or you're scared, or something wrong with you. So I kept it to myself, but she would continue to be aggressive. So I kind of felt uncomfortable a little bit. But I always tell younger soldiers, a predator, it doesn't matter what gender, what race, what height, it doesn't matter. A predator is a predator. And if they see or view you, they'll probably, they'll try to continue to make other advances towards that individual. Master Armstrong, what do you feel like the U.S. Army Reserve can do as a whole to assist males if they ever find themselves in a situation where they were possibly sexually harassed or sexually assaulted?
Well, it's critical that they understand the SHARP program and our policies on that, as well as April is a critical month to let the soldiers know what the SHARP program does and what they do to support the United States Army. And if male figures start speaking up more on incidents that are occurring during their day, their workflow, then we'll have more soldiers stand up for what's going on in the work society, and hopefully it becomes a more healthier workflow and more positive coming out of the units.
And definitely, because a lot of people in the military, I won't say a lot, but for some, they don't know April is SAPA month for the SHARP program. And it is imperative that we continue to raise awareness even outside of the month of April, because sexual assault and sexual harassment, it doesn't just stop in April. It happens every day. And as a collective unit, it is very important that we continue to fight that mission. And I always tell personnel, one case is one too many. And as a whole, we have to continue to fight those predators out there like we mentioned earlier. So thank you for coming to this episode of TEAL Table Talk. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to sit down with myself, and I hope to see you again.
It was an honor, Sergeant. Thank you.
No, thank you.